statement. I'm somewhat perplexed by what the court did. I'm trying to understand it so that I can advise you further. But those are the facts that are presented to us. Those are the legal issues. We're obviously disappointed that the court didn't decide it. We don't know why, whether it was an oversight or whatever, because Justice McLaughlin was obviously very careful to go through multiple arguments of multiple parties. But based on the decision as rendered, that's what the court said. I hope I didn't speak to that.
Right. Anybody else out there? No, I'd like to ask the attorney a question.
Certainly, sir.
The Supreme Court was rather explicit in their wording of the Section B or whatever it was of the case where it said the town acted dishonestly. Where do you think they got that?
The only place that I could find, sir, you know, and I can't get inside their minds, but I can get inside the record. The only way, the only finding of the jury is in response to this jury charge. And that, the language used there was pretextual and its actual reason was invalid. That's one of the three orders. That's the only place that I have been able to find a jury finding, and this is, it has to be the jury, the Supreme Court can't find it. So my supposition, and it's simply that, because I'm very respectful of the Supreme Court, actually I'm very grateful too, I'm also respectful, is that they took that phrase, that or, and then turned it into that language.
It's pretty strong language to put in a Supreme Court finding without much basis.
Well, that's why.
Surprising.
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I once again, I can't speculate, but this is the record that exists. And I have searched it because I was puzzled as to where it came from, because they are strong words.
Is there a process by which we can get that defined? Because that's really critical. Look, you've got a room full of people here that are anxious about this one way or the other. And I don't think that's acceptable to just have a very powerful statement sitting out there without something behind it. I mean, I have tremendous respect for the court system too, and especially the Supreme Court. I just am surprised that you're telling us there was almost nothing that they should have based that on.
Well, what I'm going to tell you is that we raised it in our appeal. It's the third or fourth issue, I forget, I don't have it in front of me, but it's right near the top of the issues we raised for that very reason. I met today in preparation for this meeting and maybe anticipating a question like that, because it's important to me, sir, also. And I met with the appellate team this afternoon, and we are preparing, we're still thinking about it, a recommendation to the town. There is clearly a procedure in the Supreme Court which allows you to ask them to address an issue that they did not address, but that you had properly raised on appeal. But I don't want to go off half-cocked on this. I want to be careful, because I want to weigh and not disturb what we already have.
Well, I wouldn't be too careful, personally. I think they've come up with a fairly profound statement about this administration, the prior version of it, and that's a pretty powerful statement to say they were dishonest and deceitful, or whatever you want to term it, without some sort of a comment. And I think you have every right to go right after that and find out what they based that on.
Well, they used to say that the language they used were fighting words.
Fine.
Maybe I can ask you this, just to help me, guide. Do you think it's something that we should look at a little bit more?
You think?
Gentlemen, I work for you.
Look at this room of people.
I did.
They're all here just because of that small section.
I mean, we pay you good money
And has
to
to do
defend
with
this
the-
town, and you're not defending the town.
One meeting here, please, thank you. And everybody is upset about that phraseology they used. And if they just pulled it out of the air, they should be ashamed of themselves, but if they've got something to base it on, we ought to know what it was. And I'm really quite surprised that you and the team who succeeded in all these other cases haven't got that right at your fingertips.
Well, let me just explain to you about me. I try to be cautious. When I said to you that I would use my best efforts to win, I meant it. And I don't find it in a book. I don't go to a dictionary like some people do. I want to make sure that I got a chance of being right.
This isn't a matter of winning, this is a matter of defining. And I think they owe us that definition.
Well, let me tell you,
This
sir.
person's political career is hanging in the balance. I mean, half of these folks are warming up the kettle of tar out there, and they've got pillowcases full of feathers. And I think it's damn important that we know.
Not really.
I would just like to interject a couple of things, because I was involved in this from the beginning. And I know, and most of the people in this room know, what our motives were, what we did, how we did it. Nothing was done behind closed doors. Nothing was done deceitfully. And because a group of people in Waterbury decided to add some language, it doesn't change anything for me. It is the proudest moment of my life to know that what we did was right and proper, and we used the proper ways of doing it. I don't really care what the Supreme Court's definition of these things is right now. But you can go ahead.
Fran, you know, I usually get along perfectly well with you, but I do beg to differ on this. I care what the Supreme
All right, well,
Court
let me
says.
just tell you this. Let me put it to you. You want me to go get him?
I want to know what they meant by that.
You want me to go get it?
I don't think that's going and getting them. I'd like
No,
to hear
go
what that
get
meant.
it. Go
No,
get
the
your
information.
answer.
Question?
I would love to know what that meant.
Do you want me to go get it?
I do.
Question?
I mean, I think we're owed that definition, aren't we?
Question to the,
Well, my point is, there are a lot of people that, on both sides of the issue, not necessarily, and I'm really sorry that this seems to be both sides of the aisle. This is not a political thing, this is a morality thing. And this is a critical comment, and I think we need to know what they meant by that. The truth will set us free.
You
Truth
first, then you, then you.